Greetings, EastEnders fans, and welcome to another episode of Albert Square After Dark, your weekly EastEnders podcast. This week, discussing the episodes broadcast between the 9th and the 12th of October, 2023. Hello, how are you? You all right? Jolly, jolly good. Joining me, as usual, is the delightful Ree. Hello, Ree. How are you this week? Well, I should
Rob,
know.
nice. I was going to say, nice to see you again.
I should know this week. If you are following any of our socials, you may have seen a little photo of me and Ree together this week because I went to your land and was doing some shopping and stuff. Went to see Miriam Margolyes, and yeah, it was a lovely time. And so I gave Ree a message. I was like, "I'm in your neck of the woods."
Oh yeah, with no notice. By the way, everyone didn't think to mention this until he was actually in my land.
Thought I'd give you a lovely surprise.
He did. It was a surprise. And thank you, everyone, because we bought a coffee, didn't we, Rob?
Yes, we did. So
we had a lovely coffee together. Thank you.
I had a nice brownie as well. A caramel ganache. That brownie was lush. Caramel ganache brownie. Ooh.
I recommended Rob with one of my favourite brownies at a cafe, and
really nice.
It did not disappoint, did it?
It did not. Right then, ladies and gents, bit of news. Next week, I'm off on my travels again, I'm afraid. I'm off to Italy this time. Oh, yeah.
Italy! Jet setter, isn't it?
Just saying. So, unless something absolutely mammoth and out of the blue happens next week, we won't be here next week. And like I say, unless something huge happens, in which case we'll try and get something of some form to you. But
it may be a day late if it's something mammoth.
If it does. And only if it's big and mammoth, because I'll be in the air and travelling around and stuff, and about 6 stone heavier because of all the pizza and pasta and red wine I'm planning on consuming.
And gelato, their ice cream is incredible,
and
Rob.
Tiramisu, yes, and the odd gladiator. Who knows?
Not at all jealous.
So yeah, there we go. But that's next week. We're here this week, and we have another week of EastEnders to discuss. Not the biggest week, but that's okay. That's allowed. You know, now and again they need to give themselves a little bit of a breather until they throw the next big thing at us. Hopefully that won't be next week, because I hate it when we're not here and we miss a big week. That's always the worst, isn't it? So hopefully nothing too mammoth.
I have a feeling that it may be spoiled or something.
It's going to be a bit bigger than this.
But you know,
it's going to be a bit bigger than this week, next week, unfortunately. So anyway, we'll see what we can do. But then let's discuss this week's EastEnders, shall we, Ree?
Let's do it.
Right then, ladies and gentlemen, off we go. And we shall start with Keanu, Sharon, Karen, and Dorian, who I think Dorian might have gone this week now. I think he did his little scam and then he buggered off again. I think I got that vibe. I think he might not.
Well, I'll be honest, at the start of the week, I was like, oh, so she's going to marry Dorian at Christmas. I was right. Yeah. And then by the end of the week, I was like, she's definitely not marrying Dorian at Christmas.
She's definitely not marrying Dorian. Yes. So it seems that we might have got a little clue as to why Sharon is wearing a wedding dress at Christmas, because Keanu has come up, or rather Karen has come up with a rather devious plan that may well result in Sharon getting nearly married on Christmas Day. I suspect she's not going to get fully married, if I'm honest. She looks a bit distracted come Christmas Day, if you take my meaning. So we shall have to wait and see how that plays out. But it seems that at the start of the week that Sharon and Dorian are getting a little bit closer. Dorian clearly fancies Sharon, and basically everybody is telling Sharon how gorgeous Dorian is, including Kathy. Really nice scene between Kathy and Sharon this week. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah. There's been some nice scenes as well. And Elaine's been getting involved as well, hasn't she? A little bit with those scenes, I've noticed. Yeah. With it, a nice scene with Elaine and Sharon clearing the air, actually, because we've not really had that. So now we can see that they can just get on. That's nice,
although arguably it wasn't really Elaine's fault. It was more Linda's fault than Elaine's fault. Elaine just sort of came and assumed it was all sorted, didn't she? But yeah, you're right. It's nice that they kind of put it all to bed and all this.
Sharon was annoyed at Elaine though, even though it was Elaine's fault, weren't she? But
Yeah, exactly. Yes, so Keanu's got all jealous because Dorian keeps like presenting Sharon with like flowers and everything, and he's getting all sort of. This is the thing about Keanu. I mean, he's just so immature, isn't he? I get where he's coming from, kind of, this week, but for the most part, it's just him throwing a little bit of a strop because he's seeing Sharon with another man.
Well, I know what you're saying. He is being immature, but from his point of view, she's asked him to babysit. And then he's seeing her on what he thinks is a date. So I can kind of see why he'd be a bit annoyed and think, "Oh, right, you want me to you're only asking me to look after him so you can go and have a date. Nice one." But you're right, he didn't handle it in a very mature way, did he?
No.
His response to that was what, Rob?
Well, his response to that, I mean, yeah, his response to that is just to basically just get in a mood about it and sort of, because the thing is, Sharon has now decided that she's going to take the job offer that Dorian gave her in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi, how do you say it? Abu Dhabi. Is it Abu Dhabi?
I'd say Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi.
Oh, now you make Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi.
Are you being Abu Dhabi?
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. Anyway, so she's going there anyway. She's decided that it was going to be a great idea. She's going to take Albie with her for a year, which, bizarrely enough, Keanu isn't too keen on the idea of that, and neither is Karen. We had quite a lot of Karen and Sharon battles this week. Now it's quite strange, really, because in a way, Sharon and Karen, apart from the fact that their names rhyme, have quite a lot in common. You know, they've both lost kids. Yes. You'd think that they would be able to kind of find some common ground between them so that they could get on, but Karen is in mega sort of mother protective mode, overprotective, some would argue, I would say.
I've been thinking this all week, because really, from Karen's perspective, she should be saying, "Oh, well, the mum's everything." Not that I'm saying it necessarily is that way, but that's how she's had to bring her kids up.
Yeah.
As far as we know, most of her kids' fathers haven't been around, so I'm quite surprised that she's been.
We've only met one. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, and yeah, I don't know, something's not quite rang true with all this Karen malarkey. It's felt a bit forced, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, the thing is with Karen, you kind of get the sense that they're very much sort of, you know, she's on her way out and they're sort of trying to not make us care about it too much in some respects. They're trying to make her as unlikable as they can get her. And it's working, in all fairness, because you and in some ways it almost feels a little bit out of character for Karen to be this sort of. I know her and Sharon.
That's what I mean.
I know her and Sharon have never seen quite eye to eye. I get that, but like the fact that Karen now wants to force Keanu to marry her, and then basically just create this whole false relationship so that he can not only get custody of Albie, as if he's going to get custody of Albie, by the way, in the resultant divorce. And she also wants Keanu to completely fleece Sharon of every penny that she possesses. It's just,
yeah, it's just not ringing true, is it? Let's be honest.
No.
Also, before Keanu came back, Karen and Sharon had quite an amicable relationship. She often used to babysit for Albie, didn't she?
Yeah, well, I think they were kind of just sort of getting along, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, amicable though. Yeah,
fairly amicable. Yeah, this is sort of been. I think they'd like us to think that it's been building up for a while, but I think it went in quite a sharp direction this week. I thought, which kind of felt a little bit at odds with. I know it's hard to describe because I know Karen and Sharon have had these rows before, and I know that they are sort of they have argued quite a lot, but it feels like this is Karen taking everything to the next level rather than her just trying to deal with Sharon on a human level. She's now like visibly plotting in order to bring Sharon down and to make Sharon suffer, which again doesn't feel. Karen's not normally this devious and not normally this sort of villainous role. It doesn't really suit her, I don't think. So it's a shame. It is a shame. And if you were to follow Lorraine Stanley on Twitter, she has been retweeting a few little opinions, and she says that she didn't particularly enjoy She said that she didn't really enjoy playing Karen like this, which is interesting.
I think you can kind of tell that when she's doing it, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame. It is a shame that Karen's going out this way. And does it kind of suggest to you that Karen's definitely going to get killed off as well?
No, I actually know. No, I think it's going to just end in her going to live with Chatham and Riley and their dad.
Yeah, maybe.
We had a bit of a mention of Chatham and Riley earlier this week, and I thought,
yeah.
Is that way? I think it's just all going to blow up, and then she's just going to go and leave, and yeah. And I don't think that she'll get killed off now. I think she's just going to go and live with those two. I think that's how it's. I think it's all going to make her realise that she's doing all of this, and she's got two of her own sons who are still really young and need her, so she needs to go and join them. I think that's what will happen.
I do think that killing Karen off would be an unnecessary amount of pain for the Taylors, considering what they've gone through since they arrived. You know, the fact that they lost Chantel, that was a real painful period for them. And now for the kids to effectively become orphans as well, Like that would be pretty.
Well, they're not really kids anymore, are they?
I know, but at the same time, they're too young to sort of be in that position. I feel like they're just, they're just starting out off in life properly. You know, they've got jobs and and they're just starting to get used to sort of living an adult life. I feel it's way too young to be put in that position. Bless them. So I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. But any kind of thoughts that you might have had about Dorian and Sharon having a potential future was all thrown out the window this week because the pie and mash and fight event thing happened.
Pie and a punch up.
Pie and a punch up, absolutely. So that was all going ahead. And basically what this was a big event where you could come and bet on the boxing rounds and the outcomes. It's all very bloodlust, isn't it? This is completely and utterly outside of my comfort zone doing anything like that. I wouldn't have a clue. There was literally moments where I was kind of like, I have no idea what they're talking about. I'm not that butch, I'm afraid.
I know things happen in rounds, etc., but I just cannot.
And I know.
Kathy said, blood sports are not for me. I don't understand the appeal.
I know when the bell goes off, then that means the round's over. I don't know how many rounds there are. I don't know exactly how you're supposed
just until one of them don't get up when they're counting down from 10 seconds. That's
you literally knock somebody into a coma and then you win, apparently. I don't know.
Brilliant. Let's go watch. Anyway.
But this was a big event at the Boxing Den, and right down to the last fight, where it seems that Dorian did a little bit of a fiddle with so to speak, fiddled the last result of the match so that he ended up raking it in, doing a sort of side bet with people, and then seems to have just run for the hills and put the Boxing Den's reputation at risk because it's all going to come out that they were sort of doing these dodgy deals in order to get more money out of the punters. So that's going to put Sharon's reputation at risk. Mm-hmm. So when Keanu finds this out from George, I'm not quite sure who rang George up to give him this information, but George found out.
He went and spoke to two guys at the back, Queen Vic, do you remember? Two lads, and he went, "Oh, lads have just told me."
Yeah, lads, because the lads know all. The lads of knowledge. And so Keanu is delighted by this outcome because it means that he's got to get in with Sharon, so can then start this seduction thing. To be fair to Keanu, he's not sure about this plan at first, but then when he realizes that Sharon is definitely going to Abu Dhabi with Albie, whether he likes it or not, he realizes that he's got no other option in order to keep Albie in his life. So he kind of just he begins the seduction thing. It's mad. This.
Although you'd think him discovering this about Dorian and make him go, she's probably not going to go to Abu Dhabi now, is she?
Well, she's not going. She's clearly not, is she? Why would she? No. Why would she now? No. So yeah, all of this is kind of like she's. If the only reason that you're doing this is so that Sharon stays around Walford and the fact that Albie would stay around Walford, if she's now no longer going to Abu Dhabi, then all of this, there's no point to this now, surely, is there?
Yeah, none of it makes sense. It don't make sense for Keanu to agree to it either. Like, obviously, we're reluctant when Karen's saying it at first, and then he just agrees, and it's like, that's out of character for him as well, so it all feels very forced, this.
The thing is, I don't believe that Sharon would fall for this. I know that we're supposed to be thinking that Sharon is kind of still in love with Keanu, and I kind of got the impression that Sharon has sort of realised what she was getting into with Keanu. It feels like a bit of a backstep for her because she seems to be sort of like, do you know what, actually, we're very different people, we're very different ages, we're different generations, we want different things in life. This relationship in itself was clearly a mistake and it's not really going to work. But this week, it apparently only takes a bit of a flutter of the eyelashes from Keanu and a bit of tenderness, and she's all kind of
muscles in it, Rob. Muscles.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's wouldn't work on me. Wouldn't work on me at all.
Oh, I know it wouldn't at all.
No,
I liked that. I enjoyed that.
Straight of an ox, me. Oh, Sharon's solicitor. I liked her.
Yeah, I liked her. I'd like her to be Sharon's Richie, actually. Yes. I liked her.
Yeah, I liked her a lot.
That'd be nice.
She liked Keanu as well, didn't she?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Strictly off record, I see the appeal.
I mean, to be fair, I think we all see the appeal.
We do.
Nothing wrong with Keanu's
Karen
appeal.
sat next to him.
Yeah, it's all very odd. So there we go then. So where do you think? Do you reckon this is going to be it now? This is why Sharon's in a wedding dress on Christmas Day.
Well, yeah, clearly.
Must be, mustn't it? So this works.
None of it rings true. Do you think Keanu's going to do it, and then as he's going along, he's going to go, "Oh, actually, this relationship could work," and now I can't.
Yes.
And I don't want the plan to go ahead, and I genuinely feel this way. Surely.
Well, I mean, the other thing, of course, is the fact that Karen, who seems to be sort of the main instigator of this plan, and I think is going to be the one that, if whenever Keanu has an inevitable wobble, which I think he will, I think Keanu will sort of start to feel guilty that he's doing this at some point. The person that presumably will be trying to keep him on track throughout all of this will be Karen, and I get the impression that Karen's not going to be still going to be there come Christmas. So it's
depends when she's leaving.
Exactly. I feel like she's going to be gone by the time Christmas comes around. So you kind of get the impression maybe that Keanu will realise, oh, actually, I'm still in love with Sharon, which I think he is. I don't think there's been any doubt that he still has had feelings for Sharon all this time.
Well, that's what confused me, because when he had a chat with Karen, he said, "Oh, it won't be hard for I can pretend that I'm still in love with Sharon." So we're implying that he's not at all.
I think he is. No, I think he is. I think he definitely is. Yeah.
We've not mentioned. Sorry, what I was asking you earlier when he saw Sharon with Dorian, that his solution was to go and take Albie out to go and get his ear pierced. I didn't quite understand that.
I mean, no, I understood this completely. Actually, this I thought was actually quite in character for Keanu, especially
okay.
Because actually, what this was, this had nothing to do with getting Albie's ear pierced. This was to do with marking him as his son, wasn't it? That was a pure territory move. You know, that was about, look, this is basically tagging him as a Taylor, like, because Sharon would never have done that to him in a million years. So he comes back with this sort of Del Boy stud in his ear, this kind of Diamante type, kind of almost like basically half a metal bar through his ear. It's mad, isn't it? I don't think you should be allowed. I've got to be honest. This may prove controversial, but I don't think that should be legally. You should be legally allowed to do that to a kid at that age. I really don't. If you're not allowed to get a kid tattooed, why can you shove a piece of metal through their ear?
It's a bit different because it heals.
I'm not a dad.
I personally wouldn't get my daughter's ears pierced that young. It can be a cultural thing in some cultures.
Fair.
I've seen some very young babies with their ears pierced and gone, oh, and then thought, well, you know, might have comment.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that maybe the kid should have some level of choice in. That's just me. You know, all parents are different. You know what I mean? I'm not criticizing anybody. I think the better way to word this out how I feel is actually I'm surprised that you're allowed to do that. I think it's closest to the mark. Do you know what I mean? I'm surprised that if you're not allowed to take a kid to be tattooed, I'm surprised that you're allowed to give them a piercing. That's what I mean. But yeah, as far as Keanu doing it to Albie is concerned, that was all about territory. That was all about him marking, and then basically that was nothing to do with Albie. It was all to do with Sharon. Look what I've done to my son, because I can do that to my son because he's my son.
He's my son.
He's my son as well as yours. That's all that was about. That's all that was about.
Definitely.
So, but by the end of the week, the piercings quickly disappeared, and the ear can heal up. But yeah, that was quite. That was a move. I'll give him that. That was a hell of a move.
And Sharon had a very valid point of, what if it gets infected? Because Keanu clearly didn't think about that one, did he? Because it can happen very easily.
I doubt he took it to Claire's accessories, put it like that.
No.
Sorry, I had mine done. Oh, yes. That he fainted in the middle of Claire's accessories because I'm such a butch person.
Yeah, I had mine done there as well.
Yeah, there we go. I thought they were going to put me in like a side room or something. Oh, no. They sit.
Oh, no, you're in the window. You're in the window for everyone to see, aren't you?
I wasn't in the window. I was smack right back in the middle of the store. They have a stool in the middle of the store for people who are getting their ears pierced. All right, you want to have your ears pierced, hard man? Let's see how you deal with everyone's watching you. Come on. Yes, I did.
You've got a point, because places like Blue Banana or other places are available to get piercings from. They even take you into a back room, to be fair, if you're having a piercing. So you have got a point. Yeah.
So there we are then. So yeah, I think what's going to happen here is that Keanu is going to start doing this plan, and then he is going to realise, oh, actually, no, I'm still in love with Sharon. And then something about the plan is going to have to continue in order for the wedding not to happen on Christmas Day. And then that will officially put Keanu on the floor as a suspect, effectively. This is what's really going to start framing Keanu as the suspect for being on the floor, I think.
It could still be Dorian, Rob. He's an idol of people.
Not that much, I don't feel. I feel like he is. I think he's gone now, Dorian. I got that impression.
But why else was he here? Just to make Keanu jealous?
Probably. Probably.
You
And
reckon?
just give Sharon that opportunity that she felt that she could maybe kind of leave Walford for a bit, and then sort of
and Rocky, and then he he might be a goner then.
He's done his thing, you know what I mean? He's done his thing. He's sort of moved a few characters around in quite a sort of way that we didn't even really notice he was doing it, and then sort of left again. So, but I feel like that's probably the last we're going to see of Dorian. I might be wrong, but I feel like his time is done. So there we are then. But let us know in the comment section where you think the Sharon and Keanu storyline are going. They still have big fans, by the way. You know, I see quite a lot of support for Keanu on Twitter. So they do have their fan base, which is lovely. You know, every couple should have one.
I think that they could work, if I'm honest. I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I would. I ship them. I definitely ship them, actually.
Fair play.
I think that I see them working, to be fair. Yeah.
I just think that it's, you know, I got them as an affair couple. I thought that really, really worked. I understood both of their motivations completely with that. You know, it was the fact that Sharon was feeling neglected by Phil, and so this hot stud gives her some attention, and then why the hell wouldn't you? And then Keanu being a bit of I think he was 19 when they were doing it, weren't they? So he was very much sort of swept away by this gorgeous blonde. So I kind of got that. I got the motivations there, but ever since they tried to then turn that into an actual relationship and then getting engaged and married, something about them as characters, I feel they're not suited together. I think that they were suited together for a hot, steamy affair, but I don't know if their relationship is ever going to work out.
Yeah, but now that they've had a kid and they're trying to co-parent and they both admire each other as parents, I think that's how it could work.
I don't think Sharon admires Keanu as a parent that much, in all fairness.
She does. She's been saying it. No, she's been saying it all week. She's been saying opposite. She's been saying, "You're a great father. I'd never take that away from you.
Wow. Yeah,
Albie adores you. You're such a good dad." She's always saying it.
Maybe, yeah. It's interesting. It's an interesting little relationship to sort of watch develop, but I don't think that they're there for the long run. I feel like having Albie almost forced them to be in this position, because I feel like if Albie hadn't come along, this wouldn't be a thing. So
it wouldn't, would it? Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So it's interesting. It's to sort of see them forced to try and make something that might not work. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, let us know in the comment section below what you think of Keanu. Do you think that Keanu might be heading towards a Christmas Day on the floor exit? You never know. He's officially a suspect. Let us know in the comments section below. On to Rocky now, and Harvey has had suspicions that Rocky may now be addicted to gambling. And he's got the wrong end of a stick there, because obviously Rocky is not addicted to gambling. He's just becoming rather addicted to try and sort out his increasing money worries about paying off his massive debt that they've had to do because of Joe.
Hold on.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
You're saying he's not addicted to gambling?
No, not at all. No, I don't think he's addicted to gambling. I think he's desperately trying to sort out the money situation, and gambling is.
Have we been watching the same show?
He's not addicted to gambling.
Why do you not? I think he is addicted to gambling. I thought that was the point of the story.
No.
What do you mean?
No, he's not.
No.
I am. No,
you
listen.
Say no when I'm saying he is.
Listen. He is becoming. He's trying to sort out his problems quickly. I don't think he's addicted to gambling, but he is trying to desperately get hold of cash quickly, and gambling in his mind is the quickest way of doing that. I think is the.
I think he's addicted to gambling.
He's definitely not.
I think he's been trying. I think he's been trying to get his problems sorted out quickly by gambling, and then become addicted to gambling.
He's not addicted to gambling. I really don't think he's addicted to gambling. I disagree.
Well, I think he is.
I just think he's not.
Let us know what you think.
Let us know, because otherwise we could have a massive fight. I don't. 100%. He's not. He's trying to quickly solve his cash problems out. That's all he's doing. I don't think he's addicted to gambling at all, because we just had a gambling addiction storyline with Lisa. We're not going to do another one.
Why not? It ties in perfectly for everything. He's going to get himself into even more debt because of his gambling addiction, and then we know what's going to happen.
Oh, see, but I think that he's trying. I feel like the gambling thing is going to fail, and he's just going. I think he's going to end up. I agree with the fact that he's going to do this until he loses all his money, but I don't think it's a gambling addiction storyline. I think this is just a pathway to get him to a point of desperation where he ends up doing what we think he's going to do.
I don't think that they're going to go down this is what happens when you get addicted to gambling. I don't think that's what they're going to do with it, but I do think that we're meant to think that he's got a problem with gambling. I do think. Anyway, we're going to go around in circles here because we have very different opinions.
Very different opinions, apparently.
I'm surprised
but yeah, Harvey is kind of worried about him. He has noticed basically that Rocky keeps going to the gambling shops. That's the Olga again this week. I thought I quite like Olga. She's got a sassiness about her. I enjoy Olga.
She's all right. She's all right.
She's right. And she is kind of accommodating this. So I think this is the other thing. I think if you're in I don't know this for sure, but I think if you work in the gambling trade, you're sort of trained to work out who the addicts are. I feel like that's
and then not give a.
You don't think they care?
No, they're not. I don't think they have a duty of care to do anything for people gambling. You have to be over 18, and I don't think that they can set limits on people. What do? You just go into another gambling shop.
That's true.
How can you be responsible? It's like working in an off license. You're not responsible for the alcoholic who comes in every week, are you?
True. I don't know. I thought I had it in my head that there was something that because obviously whenever you go on a gambling site, there's always things about warning you and putting limits on your spending and all that kind of thing. So I assumed that sort of translated to betting shops as well. I don't know. I
could be wrong, but I don't think there is. No, not in betting shops.
Well, anyway, so he's constantly trying. By the end of the week, he's actually got himself a fair win from the boxing thing because the little thing that Dorian does actually ends up working quite well for Rocky, and he ends up getting quite a win out of it. I think he gets about 500 quid from it, so he's delighted about that. Kathy's happy because all Kathy's really worried about is the fact that they need money to pay off this debt that they're in. And he is basically kind of telling Kathy fibs this week, saying that it's Jay's fault because Jay's obviously distracted with grief. And he hasn't paid him properly, but actually it's got nothing to do with that. It's to do with the fact that Rocky's basically... So I get the feeling, actually, that Jay has been paying him, and he's just basically trying to make more money out of the situation.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does Kathy not... Is it not weird that he's got it all in cash and like not straight in bank account as well? Like, is that normal for him to get it in cash from Jay?
I assume he takes it out of the cash point. I think, to be fair, cash is more visual.
He says, I'll go and put it back into
but cash is more visual to the viewer. I think it's one of those things. You often see cash a lot more in soaps than you would do in real life because nobody carries cash around these days, do they?
Yeah, but you can't draw 500 quid out of a cash machine. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting into the...
Very pernickety. So yeah, but obviously this is all leading up to the calf fire, isn't it? This is where this is heading, and I think it's very kind of clear now that how this calf fire is going to happen is clearly going to be Rocky that does this for an insurance job. It's going to be a sort of last resort type thing, and that's going to cause no end of problems when that actually happens. I'm sort of really looking forward to it. Actually, I think the fire is going to be quite an epic set of episodes. I'm excited.
I just hope it's not next week.
I don't think it is next week. I don't think it is.
Oh, okay. Oh no, yeah, you said
I hear tell it's a bit later on in the year.
Yeah, I remember you saying now. Actually, yes.
So that's quite exciting.
To it.
So yeah, there's not really a huge amount to discuss with this, apart from the argument that we're having about whether Rocky's addicted or not. But I don't think he is. But do let us know whose team you're on with this. I don't think he's addicted. I think he's just trying to solve his problems. Ree thinks he's actually developing a problem with gambling. That seems like a good discussion point for me. Stick it in the comment section below. Thank you very much. On to probably what was the smallest storyline of this week, which I suggest means that it's going to be quite a bit bigger next week, and that was Ravi and Nugget and Nugget's whereabouts. There's a little thing at the start of the week where Ravi is told that Nugget's phone has been found by the canal, and that's always a worrying place for any phone to be found from a missing person. But Nugget does end up getting in contact this week. Oh, was it Nugget? I was confused, like whether it was actually supposed to be Nugget or not.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be because Suki obviously gives him a call, so she must have his burner number somehow.
Yeah,
she gives him a phone call, doesn't she, and leaves a voicemail saying, "Please, can you just get in touch because your dad's really worried."
And then he does,
and then he gets a text message. Yeah.
So it was Nugget that got in touch.
Yeah,
which was nice of him. To be fair, like when kids are trying to massively, I mean, you've got all this to come. I hope you're looking forward to when your daughter does a flit, and then your sleepless nights and all that kind of thing. It's coming one day. Comes to every parent. Telling you.
Can't wait. Anyway.
She won't do it for long. Don't worry. I bet you did worse, didn't you? I bet you did.
No, I were an angel.
Yeah, all right then. Yeah, all right then. Whatever. Yeah, sort of the cherub that you are. So Nugget does get in touch with Ravi this week, which sort of settles his mind. But then he kind of gets in the mind that anyone could have really messaged him. because I own a restaurant, it's quite easy to find my number or something.
And
so,
the police say that to him as well, don't they?
Yeah,
They say we're
which is
not
quite
treating
unhelpful.
it as genuine. Well,
cheers, Wolf of Police. Yeah, you don't really do it.
Kind of understandable when it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it had come from Nugget's number, you could argue and say, well, if somebody has got him for whatever reason, they could have just sent that. Unless you hear his voice, and even then you could go, I still don't believe that you're safe because I don't actually know where you are. So
it's fully
kind of fair to not believe it.
So Denzel decides to hold a vigil in the square for Nugget this week, and that's quite nice. You know, everyone's there holding like candles, and Kim decides to film it for her social so that they can sort of get the idea that everyone needs to be looking for Nugget and find Nugget, and hopefully even for Nugget himself to see it in order for him to come back. Everything's okay. You're safe. Just please come back because we're worried about you. And we see Nugget this week, and he is sitting in a mysterious flat. So we know that Nugget's fine. We have a fairly good idea where he is.
Well, there were rollies on the table as well, so
I noticed
that implies to me something dodgy must be going on there.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to actually meeting these. I am looking forward to meeting who we know he's with. I am looking forward, and this is the thing. I'm annoying that we're probably not going to be here next week, but I am really looking forward to meeting them because I want to know. True. I want to know what this woman must be like for him to run to her. And for someone like that to be getting involved with someone like Ravi, I feel like this is the sort of woman who would know Ravi quite well and would sort of know what she was getting herself into when she got with Ravi.
Well, we know she did because weren't Ravi a drug dealer? Isn't that how we got with her? I'm sure that's what he said before.
Oh God, I've got no memory of that. I just think that
I'm sure that she was. Yeah, I'm sure she basically used to get her drugs from Ravi, and then he ended up sleeping with her.
I don't remember that at all. But he might have mentioned it because I remember he did briefly talk about his ex at one point. So you might be right. But yeah, I'm sort of intrigued to see what this woman's going to be like. Looking at pictures of her, genuinely, I think she's going to slap about 12 people in her first month. She's got that vibe about her. You know what I mean? She really has got the vibe of someone quite gobby about her. I'm looking forward to meeting her, as does her daughter. And this is the other thing that's going to be interesting, was the fact that this woman's had 2 kids with Ravi. All right, so obviously one of them he didn't know about, which means that presumably she's younger. She's younger than Nugget, so that's his younger sister. I do think there was a picture released of all the Panasars, including these 2 new characters this week. I was really excited about it because actually the thought of injecting some new women into that unit is a really, really, really good idea. And I didn't notice
definitely.
I didn't realise it was needed until I looked at that photo and I was just like, oh, that's perfect. That really, really works. I'm excited.
We've definitely been missing some females in the Panasar family. Be interesting to see what dynamics they're going to have with Suki, whether she's going to take them on board as part of the family or is she going to hold them at arm's length?
I get the impression, I don't know why, but just from the pictures, I get the impression they are not going to be Suki's cup of tea whatsoever. They look a bit rough and ready for Suki, I think.
Very true, but then is she going to take them under her wing, especially the daughter? She might see a bit of ash in her or something.
Yeah, but I think Priya, is that her name? I can't remember what I can't remember
either,
I haven't got
Priya
and Ivana. I want to say it's Priya, but it might not. It's Ivani.
Ivani.
I know the daughter's called Ivani. I think the mum's called Priya. I'm not quite sure, but either way, I think that the mum is going to definitely clash with Suki. I think you're right. I think I can see Ivani being taken under Suki's wing. 100%, because I think that she will look at Ivani and think, well, I've got another chance to have sort of like a daughter figure in my life because I made such a mess with Ash. So I think that's going to be really, really interesting. But the mum for sure is going to clash with Suki.
Well, the only thing I'm thinking that they will have in common is that they probably all hate Ravi. So will that work in all of their favour? And will they end up uniting against the Panasar men?
Maybe. Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait for this to kick off. I love the Panasars. They're such a great family. Same. I'm so excited.
And they have been missing people. It's good to see the numbers.
Do you think we're ever going to see Ash again?
Depends whether the actress wants to come back, doesn't it?
I would like to see Ash come back, not necessarily full time, but I would like to see Ash kind of come back once Suki and Eve are out. And sort of deal with that hypocrisy. I'd like to see Ash come back and deal with that hypocrisy that she had to deal with. That would be really interesting.
It feels important for us as viewers to be able to see Ash's reaction to it when it does come out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quite literally.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't think we will though. Oh no, I'd
like to see it. I'd like to see it, but obviously the Panasars are going to be a bit busy in the coming months. So yeah, that's exciting. Very, very exciting. Okay, so on to the final story of the week, ladies and gentlemen, and Jay is on the edge. Right, final story of the week, ladies and gentlemen, and we are on to Jay, who really kind of fell off the rails a bit this week, didn't he? Bless him. He has discovered that Nadine is a bit of a I wouldn't say, well, I mean, she's got ket. She likes a bit of a ketamine of an evening. Apparently it relaxes her, apparently it calms her down. And Jay very quickly decides that's a great idea. That's going to sort me out. That must be cheaper than sleeping next to you every night. That works well for me. So he starts taking ketamine, and I think quite quickly becomes quite dependent on it. By the end of the week, he's practically like Nadine. It's at the level where Nadine is surprised by the amount that he needs. So it's the thing about ketamine is, I mean, not that I know, obviously, but the thing about ketamine is that that's not a drug that you can just, sort of take and just still carry on with your life if you're proper high on it. I don't think, is it?
No, it's a downer, isn't it? So it's not like people can be quite functional on coke if they're used to it.
Yeah.
Whereas ket, it's called a K-hole, isn't it? A K-hole.
Yeah, a K-hole. That's the official term for it, isn't it? Yes.
Where you go a bit,
yeah.
I have seen plenty of people on ket in my days, right?
Yes.
With my job as well, unfortunately, you tend to see people on all sorts of things.
I imagine, yeah.
And the legs tend to get wobbly. I don't know if that's because you've used a lot, or I don't know how common an effect that is, but I've seen people with ket legs. Sorry, I do know a little bit, like I say, in my job. That's the only reason.
Again, it's another example of the fact that you can literally get any drug you like in Albert Square. It's very, very easy. Any drug that comes to mind.
I imagine in London it's not difficult, to be fair. Like, there's a lot of gang stuff in London, isn't there? Or am I being...
It's all right. My Siri just started to go mad at me there. Carry on. It just started. Honestly, no, it's my Siri. Just decided to go. I just started trying to comment on everything that you were saying, and then your words were just appearing on the screen, and then it was having been read back to me. I was like, "Why?"
Well, maybe Siri were trying to help us and could know everything you're saying is wrong.
Sorry, Ree. Carry on. What were you saying?
Anyway, that ket is not something to mess with, basically.
No.
And it might get quite dangerous quite quickly. I don't know how long it'd take and how much he's doing, but I'll tell you the main thing I didn't understand, right? Why Nadine was still proceeding to give it to him. Couldn't she have been like, here's number of my guy, go and sort it yourself, because you're getting me mixed up in all sorts here now.
Yeah, well, she nearly ends up getting herself arrested this week because Callum ends up getting himself involved with this storyline this week. Now, I have to say, I was quite pleased that Callum got involved with this, because I've been saying for a few weeks now that Callum needed something to do. Okay. And Callum very much had something to do this week. He interferes a little bit, but I understood where he was coming from. Okay. I got it completely. Jay basically drops the drugs out of his pocket. It all happened very quickly. This is a bit of a trend at the moment for these stories. There seem to be like a secret begins, but then it's revealed quite quickly. And I like this. This is good. Instead of it like being dragged out for months and months on end. It feels like once upon a time, Jay would have just been an absolute mess for months and months before anybody even twigged that there was anything wrong with him. Or he would have or we would nearly have like left Lexi on like in the middle of the road somewhere, or something like that. Something would have gone horrifically wrong, and then someone would finally have realised that something's a bit wrong with Jay. But Callum, practically the next day, spots these drugs falling out of his pocket, and so then he is left with this secret to keep from Ben. And I think it's wise to keep it from Ben at this stage. I have to be honest. There's a sort of. I think Callum's struggling a bit as to whether to tell him or not, but I think he's made the right decision so far in not telling him, because I don't think Ben would react well.
I think Jay needs somebody to support him in the way that Callum is supporting him, and Ben would not do that. Ben would go in, all guns blazing, probably kick him out, kick him out at flat. Then he'd be doing it even more. He'd probably go and move in with Nadine, pay her rent, and for rest. So I mean, Callum, he was going to go and tell Ben, weren't he? And then Ben, they went, "Oh, I've got something to tell you. I've got something." "No, you go first." Well, I just wanted to say, you know, that I'd be really struggling at the thought of a pizza night, but I'm in a really good place, which is when Callum were like, right, I'm definitely not telling him then.
Yeah, I mean,
Cause...
in fairness, let's not skip over that. Ben's eating disorder storyline is
Oh
is
yeah,
going
sorry,
on
yeah,
nicely.
of course, yeah.
That was sort of a nice moment for Ben this week, that he's starting to kind of keep things under control. That's good for Ben, marvelous. But yes, you're right. This is that's the catalyst to sort of Callum going, right, well, the last thing I need to do now is tell you that Jay
derail Ben.
Yeah, exactly. So that's interesting. However, it does sort of leave Callum sort of trying to deal with an increasingly unstable Jay, to the point where the pair of them have a little bit of a tear up, and Jay ends up punching him, which is never a good idea to do to a copper. I don't think that's the wisest thing Jay could have done.
It was completely out of order, but do you know what? It all felt very in character, actually, for Jay, with what he's been going through this week.
Yeah.
Seeing him getting so frustrated and
I mean, I'm pleased that they've done this with Jay, actually, because this is something that, like, very often when you look back at Jay's history and they do a sort of historical storyline of Jay, 9 times out of 10 it's normally related to Jace. And this time round, they've actually kind of addressed the fact the other thing with Jay was that he had quite a bad drug problem at one point. So it actually really isn't surprising that he fell quite easily back into old habits. And sort of, you know, because an addict is an addict at the end of the day. And if you've got an addictive personality, which you kind of got to suspect that Jay has, it can very, very quickly snowball into something that's uncontrollable. So the fact that Jay is, by the end of the week, sort of really dependent on this stuff, and even Nadine, who got him the stuff in the first place, seems quite surprised by how quickly this is all happening. I like it, actually. I think there was some really good stuff with Jay this week. I'm so pleased that Jay's been given so loads of material this era, because Jamie Borthwick is an amazing actor, and he's so often gets sort of sidelined and becomes a bit of a community character for months and months and months on end. So the fact that Jay is front and foremost, and Jamie Borthwick can do what he can do, is a really, really good move, I think. I'm excited to see this develop, because we've still clearly got quite a long way to go with Jay with this. So it's exciting. I'm pleased.
I agree. Do you reckon Nadine's around to stay a bit longer then?
I feel not. I feel like, which is a shame, because I've got to be honest, I quite like Nadine. I like the actress, and she's got, by the way, the best name in the world. You see what the actress is called? It's the best name that you will ever see. Jazzy Phoenix. What an amazing name! What an amazing name!
I saw that on Instagram, and I don't know why I assumed it was a real name. Thought it must be an Insta handle. I
thought it was a drag name or something.
Just her Insta handle. I don't know why.
It's a fantastic name. I want to be called Jazzy Phoenix. I might change it by default. Jazzy Phoenix.
It'd be very nice to see her backstory, because she seems also she's very closed, isn't she?
She is.
This is what I do, but there must be a reason behind why she's doing what she's doing.
I think she's kind of an interesting character, which is kind of makes me suspect that we're not going to see very much more of her. Because I actually agree with you. I would like to know more about Nadine, because she actually seems, despite the fact that she is sort of she's an escort, and the fact that she takes drugs quite often, she actually also seems to be quite someone who's got it together. Weirdly,
quite screwed on.
Like she's got quite a kind of down to earth view of the world. You know, she gets it. She understands. She was a little bit sort of like perturbed when Callum kind of told her what exactly is going on with Jay at the moment. But at the same time, she was sort of like, all right, I get it. That's fine. Yeah, I don't think it's that healthy. But if you want to do this, just know that I don't think this is healthy. But okay. So I think, and the fact that, you know, she's got herself a nice flat, she's paying off her student loans, so she's all right. She's got herself together. So fair play to her. I like Nadine. I wouldn't mind seeing her again. It's interesting. I don't know if we're supposed to be seeing her as kind of like a bit of a villain. I hope not, because I don't think that she is. I think she's just doing what Nadine does.
No, I think she's showing that she's got a bit of heart, like a reaction when Callum did tell her and stuff. I think Callum's been a bit harsh on it, but I also totally get why.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. I get it completely. Yeah. So when Callum tries to get Nadine arrested this week, he ends up getting Jay sent into a cell for the night instead, which didn't work out because it's obviously Warford police. So that's interesting, and so it sort of puts Callum and Jay at odds for the rest of the week until the punch eventually happens. I thought we were going to get some sort of scene where Ben was going, "What have you done to your face?" to Callum, but they didn't really have that. So,
well, it's one of them that it can just pass off as it happened on job. I got jumped at
work. Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. All culminating, by the way, though, in a really, really, really nice scene at the end of the week with Jay, where he basically just dissolves. Jamie Borthwick does dissolving into tears so well; it's heartbreaking.
He does it. He actually
really does. He's amazing.
Yeah.
And he just basically at the end of his tether, like he can't deal with the grief anymore. He doesn't know how to handle it. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just on the edge. He's not in a good place, is Jay, bless him. So yeah, it's really sad to see.
He had that chat with Keanu, didn't he?
Yeah, that was a good scene as well. Yeah,
and I think that was what resulted in him having that breakdown, because Keanu was saying like, "Oh, you're really lucky to have Lexi," and all of that. And that's when Jay had that moment of realization, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that scene actually, to me, illustrated something about this era and the strength of the Clenshaw era, because it was two completely unconnected storylines. There was one strand that they had in common, and that was what they decided to focus on and to sort of give these two characters a moment to talk about their own problems and sort of influence each other slightly. I thought that was genius. It really kind of pictures the community that is Walford when you have a moment like that. And this era has become so good at doing those sort of things. I thought it was a really interesting, nice moment. It wasn't necessary. Didn't really need to happen. Jay could have worked that out on his own. Callum could have said what Keanu said to him. That would have had the same effect and would have sent the storyline in the same direction. But just having those two characters that don't really interact all that often have that moment, have sharing a beer on the swings. It was just really nice. Liked it. Liked it a lot. Really nice scene. So yeah, where does Jay go from here, do we think? Is it going to get worse, or do you reckon he's going to try and pick himself up again? Because I suspect he said something about counselling this week, didn't he?
He did, yeah. So hopefully he's going to use the money he's been paying Nadine to get some private counselling, which, let's be honest, he is going to have to go down the private route. And if he's had the money to pay Nadine, it makes sense for him to go down that line with Jay. I don't feel like it's the last we're going to see of Nadine, though. And I don't know if he's just going to give up the drugs that quickly.
It's not that easy, is it? It's not that easy.
It's only been a week that he's been taking them. It all happened very quickly this week. He found them, started taking them, and
yeah. Which again, under any other character, would have felt a bit unrealistic. Because we know Jay is a previous addict, it worked for me. Yeah, I thought it made sense. Yeah,
there seems to be a bit of a thing with drugs going on.
A lot.
We've had Gino, we've had Jay, Nadine.
Nugget nearly bought.
I'm now. Well, I was just about to say, I'm wondering, is this all somehow going to connect to Nugget's mum? Because, like I said, I'm sure that's how she knows Ravi, that she used to get drugs from him. Is she somehow going to get involved?
Maybe, yeah. That would be interesting if they ended up going into some sort of big drug ring storyline.
I'm wondering because there's a lot going around.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? If they did that, I would have to stand up and applaud just for the foreshadowing. That would be genius. That'd be clever.
Well, if you think about, and Ravi could be intertwined with them all. I mean, what if Nadine's been getting them off Ravi for all we know?
Maybe. It's interesting. I am really looking forward to meeting these two, and it might well be something that we didn't realise quite how relevant these two characters are. Wouldn't surprise me with this era, in all honesty. Really wouldn't, but we'll have to wait and see. So that was that. Gold star this week?
Jay?
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with Jay, to be honest. I'm trying to think, yeah.
It was Jay or Callum for me, and I think it's got to be Jay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Jay as well. I thought it was great this week. Yeah, really good stuff. Really good stuff. Really good performance. Let us know who your gold star would be in the comment section. And talking of comments, and talking of emails, and talking of general communication with our lovely viewers and listeners, it is now time to hear what you have been saying to us this week. Okay, we shall start with a new person who's emailed us, who is simply called Kathy.
Okay,
which is a fabulous name. No one's going to knock the name Kathy.
Obviously.
Best name in the world. Kathy says, "Hello, I love your podcast." Thank you very much, Kathy. I watch a week at a time and then listen to you all every week. I love it when we have the same theories. I've been stewing on one for a while, and this week my gut was screaming with it. I want to take some sort of tablet for that. I think that sounds like a digestive problem. During Monday's episode, when Stacey had her voiceover going, but Whitney was on screen, I could not shake the feeling that these are linked. I hate that Whit is leaving, but I strongly think she's going to leave with baby Charlie. Ooh. I think that Lily is going to continue to be overwhelmed, and at the same time that Whit will be told they didn't make the final cut for fostering. I haven't worked out the details yet, but my feeling is very strong. That's interesting, because when it was all the way back when both Whitney and Lily were pregnant, I think we kind of thought, oh, well, Lily's baby's obviously going to end up with That was the theory all those months ago. And obviously things have gone a little bit different since then. But it is more than possible that could still happen. And I think that Lily's struggling with the baby is interesting. And I think that Whitney would make quite a good foster mother for JB Charlie. So, yeah, I think there's a possibility there.
But if she does it, the only thing I'd say is if she doesn't make the final cut for the fostering, then she won't be able to foster Lily's baby, would she?
Well, it might not be done officially.
Yeah, true. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if that's the direction that this all ends up taking at all.
But then my question to that would be, why does she leave? I don't know if that necessarily sort of answers why she would leave Zach and then go off on her own.
Because Lily don't want to watch her bring up her daughter.
Maybe, and Zach doesn't want to leave the square.
Do it in her absence.
Possibly. I think you know what, Kathy. I think you've got the basis of a good theory there. I think there's possibilities there for sure. I'm interested to sort of see where it goes. I agree, actually, that I don't think that Lily is going to end up coping with the baby that well, even though she's got all the support around her. I think it's a very personal thing, isn't it? So it's interesting. I do wonder where that's going to go.
The only other thing I would say would be, I'm not sure whether Stacey would necessarily allow Whitney to do that.
Yeah.
But who knows? Yeah, it could easily go down that route, couldn't it?
Let's wait and see.
I've got a comment from our Instagram page. Rob's gonna love this one. Okay, so this is from Swanneck22.
Okay.
We all know that this Lola lookalike is going to fall in love with Jay, give up the game. Ben and Phil are going to hate her and be absolutely vile to her. Lexi will struggle to accept her, but grow to love her eventually, and then they'll all live happily ever after on the square. And a wedding and a baby will probably feature in there somewhere along the line too. They may all even be written out as a family at some point and go to live somewhere obscure like Milton Keynes along with Bianca. It's all a bit too predictable.
Right. I mean, there's a slight tone of cynicism in that. Is Milton Keynes obscure? I don't know.
It's not that obscure, to be fair, actually.
That obscure town, Milton Keynes.
I agree with half of that. I wouldn't be that surprised if we'd see the back of Nadine and then she comes back in a few months, maybe.
Well, I suppose technically she does live on the square, doesn't she? She lives next door to the station. So the thing is, though, I can see something like Ben finding out about her and then sort of driving her away, because that's a very Ben thing to do, isn't it? I can sort of see.
Yeah, but she's an hard nut. She might not allow that to happen. She knows law, so she'd have that on her side.
That's true. But then I feel like, but I also feel like the fact that they could threaten, like Callum, I think would do this more. That it'd be a shame if your law university found out about what you've been getting up to, and then she kind of runs away that way.
Yeah, but if she could prove to Callum that she's, quit the escorting and the drugs, he might warm to her, because she's been quite receptive when he's been talking to her about Jay. It's not like she's been like, well, I don't care. She has actually been a bit caring about it. I know she's not necessarily behaved in the right way afterwards, but who knows? Watch this space with Jay and Nadine, I think.
I would like to see more of Nadine, because I do like the character and I like the actress. I like Jazzy Phoenix. I'm going to change it. I'm telling you,
It's a great name.
It's a great name. At the very least, I'm going to get a new pet and call it Jazzy. Jazzy Phoenix, come here. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's
probably short for Jasmine, Rob.
Oh, that's true. But Jazzy's, I love it.
I've met a Jazzy in my time.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's the best name that has ever appeared on those credits. Let me tell you that for nothing. I love the name Jazzy Phoenix. Anyway, Trudy Barry has said, I may be overthinking, but Stacey's speech about good/bad men last week, and then Sharon referring to Keanu as one of the good ones, seems connected. Also, probably my only Clench Your era complaint, but I hate what's happened to Karen's character. She's always been brash, but she was ultimately kind. The last year or so, she has been written increasingly as a bully, and if this is her final storyline, then that will be the legacy of the character. Yeah, I kind of agree, to be honest. I think it's a shame the way that Karen is clearly going to be going out. I think they are clearly clearly they're done with the character. I think that's pretty evident, and I think it's...
Yeah, can I say something on that?
No, really, you can't. So thanks very much for joining us, everyone.
The vibe I've got this week with Karen, especially this week, is and Rocky a little bit, actually. Right, the contracts are coming to an end. We've decided to not renew them. Let's get writing.
Really? Okay.
That's what it feels like to me on screen, if I'm honest.
Happens now and again.
Especially Karen. With Karen, yeah.
I think it's a shame.
It feels too... something doesn't feel natural about it.
I do think, Karen is... Rocky, I'm kind of getting. I sense that sort of feeling of desperation in Rocky that's going to make him do stupid things. I get it with Rocky, but with Karen, I think Trudy's nailed it there. Karen, I think, would understand the mother side of the situation, because Karen is all the best of Karen. The best of Karen has always been when she's been the lioness to her kids. That is a woman that would have done absolutely anything for her kids. All right, she would throw herself in front of a bus for her kids with Karen at her best. And all of this sort of plotting to bring down another mother doesn't feel true to Karen, I have to say. I think it is a misstep slightly. It's a shame. It is a real shame. Like, I get it, you know, sometimes the writers will think, you know what, we've reached the end of the road with you as a character. That happens. But it's a shame to sort of make someone act out of character in order to accommodate that.
Well, sorry, very quickly, something we didn't mention, the little bust up Sharon and Karen had in the pub where...
I've got no issues with them not being friends. All right, I've got no issues with them falling out. Some of the most iconic feuds in EastEnders have been between different mothers. All right, that's not a problem. You know, we look all the way back at Kathy and Lou, for God's sake. You know, that's the sort of same sort of basis. But it's a shame to sort of see Karen going this heavily in this direction, I have to say. But we'll see how it all plays out. It may righten itself before Karen's exit. I hope it does, and she isn't just vile all the way up to her exit, because otherwise there's not going to be that much sympathy for her if and when she becomes a crispy fried Karen. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. If you would like to get in touch with us, or if you would like to give us a comment or a question or anything like that, you can do something to do with the following.
You can find us on Facebook at Albert Square After Dark, on Instagram and Twitter at E20 After Dark. Like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, Albert Square After Dark. You can find us on all your favourite podcast sites. Drop us an email at e20afterdarkpodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to buy us a coffee for when we next meet up, you can do so by going on buymeacoffee.com/E20 After Dark.
Thank you very much, Ree. So, as we said at the start of the show, probably not here next week, because I'm going to Italy. Buongiorno.
Not at all jealous, are we?
No, I'm going to Rome. I'm going to Pompeii. I'm having a right little trek around Italy. I cannot wait. It's going to be great. It's going to be marvelous.
Bellissimo.
I love Italy. I'm so excited. I love Italian food. I love the Italian language. The whole thing is just so romantic. I love it. I love it. I love it. Very, very excited. I'll bring you back a piece of spaghetti or something like that.
A piece of spaghetti. Fantastic, Rob.
But it's different if it's Italian. It's official spaghetti.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe a fridge magnet. But, you know. Okay.
I wasn't really planning on spending that much, to be honest.
Honestly, tight.
But either way, if something mammoth happens next week, then we'll try and get some form of something to you. But if not, we will see you a week on Saturday. Okay, so bear with us until then. We will miss you terribly. And until we see you next, it is goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Bye. Arrivederci.
Bye.